Okay. G'day, Tapasya. Good night, good night. Nice to see
Hi, nice to see you too.
you. Okay, so I'm gonna just start right in now to about this last birth. So we call her number 9, isn't she? I love that. Number 9, cloud 9. Something, oh, Chanel number 9. That's what it is. Chanel number 9. So this is the one we talked about some time ago, who I was concerned about because the high blood pressure combined with swelling. And boy, oh boy, she kept swelling up, man. She sure kept swelling up. You'd think you'd had to tie her down in case she was going to float on away. But, and her blood pressure was like would be over 90 diastolic. During labor, okay, well, before I get there. So we also mentioned that on Monday evening, she spontaneously ruptured her membranes. Membranes were clear. Baby was active, baby was fine, mother was happy. Her blood pressure had dropped. She had, okay, and there's this whole backstory, this whole, cultural clash. We're gonna have to, cultural clash that contributes to the entire story, to her condition. This is a European woman, very, very strong, who marries into a traditional South Indian family and who are also very strong and traditional. Ha, right there, you know that the problem. So she ruptures her membranes at 40 weeks. Clear, liquor, baby doing well, mother's blood pressure is dropping, no contractions. We go through till Wednesday afternoon, after 4, when the mother starts to she gets massage and Reiki from one of the team, and she then starts having contractions Wednesday evening. Was that the day of the massage?
Yeah.
I've lost a
I
day.
think basically on Wednesday she had them, but they were pretty far spaced out, and then during her shalogram when it became in tighter space. It's just such a long period of time.
Yeah.
To keep track of one thing's happening.
It's a very, very typical picture of latent stage labor, also known as pre-labor, previously known as false labor. It's a buildup of labor. Yeah, you're getting ready. Some people, and we've talked about this, some people drag on, some people don't. No problem, but I have my only concerns with her at this point is just her blood pressure, but the baby's great. But the family, really the blood pressure comes from the tension in the household, which was great. She had both mothers were there, both grandmothers were there, mother-in-law and her mother as well. Both come highly strung with fear and anxiety. There's a lot of tension between the mother and the mother-in-law for months. That was a lot of fighting, and over this period of time, her blood pressure would rise and she would start to swell. Yes, we treated her for high blood pressure, either with magnesium, with skull cap, she loved Rescue Remedy, lobelia, valerian. What else did I use? Things like this. But still the tension remained in the family. Anyway, so you reckon Thursday, Shalagram goes over and gives massage and Reiki and talks to number 9, who then starts to develop a pattern of labor, and it starts to develop an increase in intensity. So what time do we go out then?
Like 9
PM.
Yeah.
All right, so Radha and I go out at 9 PM. And yeah, she sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was sounding good, rocking. I forget what she was doing on the ball. Yeah. All right. She was cheerful. She was happy. She was handling the contractions. She was all for it. Oh, God. But you have to walk through the living room. You see the mother-in-law. You see the father-in-law. I mean, mother-in-law and the mother. And they always have this look. They look at you like this. They're terrified. My daughter's in pain. She's suffering. She's having contractions. Do something. Yeah.
It's not when contraction happens.
There's a big thing now. And even I was talking to Dr. Santaraj yesterday, and he threw up. Yes, and people say this now. Indian women do not want to tolerate pain anymore. And certainly since 2010, when I've attended births here in Mayapur, that was the dynamic from the family. They would come, or the village, right? I was doing it in, I forget what the name of the round building is, but the villages would come up, of the mother or the family. They'd be there. They'd be talking out the women out the window, all this anxiety, and everybody would be so worried. And in this way, transmitting fear and anxiety. So I reassure them and so on and so forth and go and attend to the mother. We stay with her. We stay with her the whole time. So that's Thursday. That goes through Friday. She needs to come back. I know there is a point. So, okay, so this is SROM, ruptured membranes. So I'm not gonna quiz you. You know what I'm going to watch for: infection, etc. So because I'm watching for infection and the waters have broken, I do very, very, very few pelvic exams, right? I limit it. So there is a point, I think must have been 6 a.m. where I do a pelvic exam, and she's 7 centimeters dilated. I can feel that the baby is still high, maybe 0 station. At this point, I would like to see him at +1. Do you understand what I just said? Do you understand what I'm talking about? So you ladies from before, I'm referring to the you know, the thing I just tested you on here. And we have part 2 to go on. So +0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or -1, 2, 3, 4. This refers to descent, the baby descending into the pelvis. So it's 7 centimeters. That wasn't very low. And wasn't very low. So to show you with the pelvis. I'm going in. And I can hear. So there's a lot of swollen tissue here, by the way. There's quite a bit of swollen tissue because the baby has hit upon this pubic bone. I found the head sitting on the pubic bone. I can feel, okay, you're just pressing here. Down here, so much room. So much room. Why is he not coming down? Why did she not come into here? She didn't. Okay, no problem. That's what I got. So from that point, which I'm trying to figure out what time I think that's 6 a.m. That's when we We already filled in the chart, right? The first page, and then we flip over and we start to record.
It was 5 centimeters when we first got there in the night, and the next morning around when she started getting more pushy, it was kind of.
Okay. So, but this is what I find. So I find lots and lots of room down here. But baby, for some reason, pushing here, and I'm not very pushy, right? And I do have small fingers. I could not get all the way around and reach, which is very interesting to note. I could not get all the way around and reach the back. So now, those of you who know the story, I couldn't, the only bony bit I felt was here, which is what you would feel. So she continues all day, on and off. She moves around, she changes position over and over and again. She tries to push, she stops pushing. She takes rest, she gets up. She doesn't do a lot of walking, or things like that because her feet are swollen and sore. And she, like I say, man, she was a balloon. At 6 p.m. Is this Saturday?
This is Friday.
When did we transfer it?
It would have been like.
Friday?
Yeah, Friday midnight, Saturday 1 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Friday? No, Friday at 6 p.m. She starts, as we say, hell for leather, pushing. Yeah. So I go in again and I check, and I can feel a cervical lip. It doesn't feel like the usual cervical lip, you know? A cervical lip that is causing problem tends to be, it's the cervix that is stretched tightly over the baby's head. It's caught on the baby's head. And the baby is descended so far into the pelvis that it's dragging that bit of cervix down with it and pinching that cervix between the baby's head and the pubic bone. That is not the case. I could find a cervical lip that was thick, not swollen, just not stretched. So it's important also to understand in the process of labor that the cardinal movements. You need a hard baby's head to finally push open that cervix. So this cervix was what we call pliable. I could get in there and I could easily move it all around. Whereas if you have a cervical lip that's getting in your way, number one, the minute you touch it, the woman's like, well, she don't like it. And it's hard, man, especially when the baby's coming and it's really that cervical lip stopping the baby from coming. You're pushing hard, hard to get that damn thing over the baby's head. And the mother is pushing or I don't like what you're doing. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And then this lip gets pushed away. Or other things too, without just getting detail into handling a cervical lip. So, but this one is pliable. The baby has not descended to push it out of the way. And I see absolutely no further progress in descending into the pelvis. As I say, at 6 p.m., she starts. She's on the toilet. She's on the bed. She's mostly on the toilet and pushing hard, which only created what? The neighborhood to come over, knock on the door. Everybody had helpful advice. Have you considered changing positions? No, I didn't think of that. Thanks for bringing that up. This isn't my first rodeo, you know. Um, so at 9:30, 10 o'clock, I've checked her again. No change. And to let you know again, the baby just never skipped a beat. She was perfectly fine. She was happy as Larry. She had a really nice fetal heart tone response to contractions and recovered beautifully afterwards. She was real chill the whole time. Not family. Her family was tension just kept rising. Oh, just kept rising. And then at this point, of course, I'm getting nervous too. I've got this mother who's been pre-eclamptic. You know, I I was scared to in all honesty, I was scared to check her blood pressure because I knew it was just going to add anxiety to me. Um, so um we before 6, I already kind of talked, I discussed how how you can sit in a chair too if you like, and then you're in her way. Let me keep this way. Move. You can move the toy box. um, Before that, there were people are asking, and it was put to me, should we go to the hospital? And I say, not yet. Let's see what happens. I give time. I give time. As time goes on, yeah, I'm starting to think more and more about hospital. Other things happened to me, which I haven't said. I said to a few people, but not to everybody. I kept having flashbacks of my husband's death. I kept remembering, in particular, for some reason, I kept remembering my oldest daughter being on the phone, hearing the rescuees, the firemen doing CPR and clear. And I remember, I was remembering after being told that he was gone, that my phone rang and it was another daughter. And I'm sorry, Prahlad, he's gone. Oh, I kept hearing that. Oh, kept thinking of my mother's passing and my grandmother's passing. And not just once, it would just keep coming a few times. Not what you want to be tapping on your shoulder at a time like this. And then I suddenly learned out of the blue that the father had a previous marriage wherein he lost a child at 6 weeks or 6 months, something, 6 months old. So this baby was born.
That I don't. I'm not
Okay, so we're trying to get this clear. Was the baby born? And then something about an accident falling down a staircase, and that the baby died, and that this was the. So actually, Shalagram comes in and tells me this story. She hears this from the father. So I call Shalagram to spell Kalindi, actually, who came to spell you. And she has a chat with the father before coming in, and then she informs me of this story of the father. Nice mix we're getting here. That's just to add to the pot of the, it's kind of like subji. And this is this is what we have in the subji. Anyway, so we do, okay. She asks me, can I do this at home? Yes. Hey, Krista, mute. Oh, never mind. I do explain, yes. Well, Mother asked me, can I do this? I say, of course you can. Father asks about transfer. Yes, it's in the back of my mind. We have, we have a plan, we have a routine. Yes. But of course, nobody is seeking, and the mother in particular is not seeking to transfer. She still wants to keep pushing. And she's fine. She was still strong, very energetic, still full of fight.
Yes, we were like joking around between contractions.
Oh, whole time. And whereas so in the recent transfers we've had with numbers, not 6, 7, with number 7 and the others before, for the whole labor, there's this mood of, oh, I'm suffering. And I have to always, no, you're not. Snap out of it. And really, that's my new message, man. No, you're not. Snap out of it. Your mother did this. Your grandmother did this. I did this. She did this. You can do this too. Stop your crying. It doesn't do you any good. So, what was I saying? Oh, so unlike these other women, this woman is full of fight and not feeling sorry for herself. So she starts in full earnest by 6 p.m. She's really on Friday night. She's pushing hard and she's giving it all she's got. I check her again around 9:30. Nothing. No change. Now, in terms of the baby's head, and of course, the whole time I'm feeling the baby's head, I can find one of the sutures. I can find the sagittal suture. I can find it at a funny skew, at a funny angle. It's not where it should be. I would ask you, what does this mean, students? But I'm not going to waste my time. Asynclitism. That does not help the situation. Asynclitism means the baby, instead of being synclitic to the pelvis, like this, has turned its head and gotten trapped, let's say, this way, or if I had a better neck, this way. Yeah. And it becomes a more difficult angle to birth. And this baby kind of stayed there. But the funny thing is, the baby did not have caput. After all that, no caput, no swelling, no molding. No molding. How's that? So 9:30, I'm sorry, no change. And we already kind of discussed what the options were and what my parameters are when I send somebody to the hospital. And I'll say it again. You should know, transferring a woman to a hospital is the beginning of hell. You are not getting her out of a difficult situation and she's on her way to being rescued. No, you are not. You're taking this woman out of a safe environment. And the truth is, you're throwing her to the sharks. You're throwing her to the sharks, and you got to go watch it. And you're helpless and powerless. At this point, just kind of doesn't work. And so I explain this. Not only that, you must understand. Cesarean section is major surgery. It is not getting your tooth pulled. It is not an appendectomy. It's major abdominal surgery that increases your risk by 40%. Immediately, tick morbidity. 1 for morbidity every time you do cesarean. And that's just one tick. You might get a few more out of that tick, won't you? Out of that operation, mother and baby, often morbidity. It is a long drive. It's a bumpy ride. Both the laboring mother and her mother vomited the whole way. So I discussed the ride, how long it takes, how bumpy it can be, the problems that we can run into. When I deliver a woman to the hospital, I want her to be healthy and I want the baby to be healthy. I want to send them to the hospital before one of them falls into distress because the ride is too far. So I saw enough evidence in this situation. And I say to the mother, look, and sometimes this works too. Sometimes this works. I'll tell the mother, okay, look, this is where we're at, So number 9, you've done your best, but these are the issues. You've got high blood pressure. And then I finally do get some courage and take your blood pressure, which I didn't want to take, which was 150/93, wasn't it? Yeah, guess what it was in the hospital? 170/103. Yeah, move that woman. You got to move these people before they're in danger. Yeah. So if I get enough ticks in my boxes that I don't like this, I'm going to move them, knowing how far I have to go. If I just go to this hospital and they actually get this thing going, that'd be sweet. That'd save a lot of trauma. And then after that, they better well listen to me again. So I say to the mother, I explain everything to her. I say, so I'll give you another hour and a half. And at 11 o'clock, if we don't see some progress or you don't give me the baby, we're going to move to Krishna. We'll transfer. She looks at me and she says, sometimes when I say this, that's enough for the mother. And it happened in that apartment at Yana's, at the other woman. That was the same. She had high blood pressure and it went over, diastolic was over 100. Bloody hell, give me your baby now or I'm moving you to the polyclinic. Polyclinic. Dr. Sharma. I didn't say that out loud. Dr. Sharma. Anyway, or I take you to the polyclinic. What do you think she did? Present me with her baby. Thank you. So sometimes you can say this to a woman, if you don't do this or I need that, da-di-da. So I say this to her. Otherwise, I'll give you an hour and a half. She looks at me. Let's go now. Okay. Yeah, you sure? Okay. Why not? Okay, let's do it. So you need to get up, da-di-da. Immediately we get to the drill. Okay, so we go. Routine. So I arrange the ambulance. Very nice guy. It all works well. Picks up the mother. Like I say, it's the mother. I always try to, you know so well that I try to get out of these transportations, these transferals to the hospital. I dumped it on Oral Danishta before. I couldn't dump it on her. I really wanted to. There's no way. There's no, Shalagram's too smart for me. She just said, no, I've got a couple of appointments. It's me again, isn't it? So it's the mother-in-law. It's the mother. It's the mother, the father, and me in the ambulance.
And 2 big suitcases.
2 huge suitcases. It's hilarious, suitcases. We had to pull out the bottle. Did we bring the oxygen bottle? Take the flow meter. Ankita, you have to take the flow meter with you. It's here. Yeah. You have to take the Ankita, you have to take the Ankita back to the hospital with the flow meter. Translate. Okay. So we call the hospital. Dr. Santaraj is, we just call reception. Reception picks up. I call Lakshmi, but on her WhatsApp phone, so she didn't hear. So I think I tried to call the driver.
He didn't pick up.
The driver didn't pick up?
Yeah.
That was unusual. Usually he picks up. So finally I call reception.
Oh.
Yeah. Dr. Suki didn't answer, which if they're off call, I would expect, and if it were me, I'd turn my phone off and smash it for the night, no one's calling me. But Dr. Shantaraj did answer. But first, reception answered. And then I have a language barrier. I don't speak Bengali. I don't speak Hindi. My bad. I'm trying, but just the Korji. Kintu. Let me follow that. That's about it. And that's the extent of my Bangla. So eventually I communicate with Dr. Santaraj. Reception gets the ambulance. We make it clear for the ambulance to come and get me. Dr. Santaraj is informed as to what's happening. He calls a specific hospital, Dr. Jana. What's the hospital? Hiramani. Yes. We actually proceed to that hospital, but on the way get the message that that particular doctor's in Kolkata, and he advised us to go to the government hospital, District Nadia. So we get there, and my brain timeline is different from Dr. Santaraj, who studied the timeline. So I'm off by a couple of hours. I don't even remember which way. All I know is I was in the ambulance on the way home at 4:30 when my alarm went off. That's all we can say. And 6 a.m. when I came in the door. So when we get to government hospital, and there's a pile of people sitting outside, which you guys, I guess, already know this, but they're all waiting to see the doctor. This is their emergency. It's all outside. Yeah, it's like 2 a.m. or 1 a.m. And they're all sitting outside. They're all bundled up. And theoretically, you're so sick that you're sitting outside at this hour in the morning to be seen. You must be pretty sick. So anyway, we get there, and the doctor takes one look at us, doesn't want to know about us, and sends us on our way. So remember, Shalagram, I'm trying to explain this stuff to Shalagram, and she's going, no, they will.
Probably stop it, you're making it worse.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, exactly. She kept arguing with me. I'm going, no, this is India. No, you don't get it. No,
My husband?
I had my husband, oh my God, what, in Florida?
So,
Just shut up already. I don't want to have to freak this woman out. Jesus. They beat them. You're in for a beating. So anyway, so we get turned away from the district hospital. And I got to say, this is when Raul, the father, rises as a warrior. He was awesome. He was amazing. He was so stressed. So he just immediately, where's the best place? And, I'm kind of stuck too, because I don't like anybody in Krishnanagar. My experiences there have not been good. And I've heard good things about Manaram. So I said Manaram, but it's Rangat, which is further away. Rangat it is. And he's on the phone. And in 60 seconds, the guy has arranged a doctor and spoken to the father, and we're the driver, and spoken to Dr. Santaraj, and we're off to Manaram. On the way, if I'm involved in any drama, it gets more dramatic. So on the way, there is a typical Indian highway traffic jam because of an accident with the lorry, right? One of the trucks, and the highways blocked off both ways, just jammed. And so the father jumps out and he starts pushing the lorries, telling them, get off the road, we're emergency. And he starts redirecting traffic and everybody's moving out of the way. And then he starts taking us through these back lanes and short. So he must be running ahead or getting other people's. Look, there's this side alley. And then we kept doing this zigzag and then going up on roadsides. And it was really funny. And we just moved us through this traffic jam that there was no hope in hell you were going to get through. Yeah. Was it a long night? Yeah. Okay, you have to see. Oh, it's me today. Why?
You can turn it on me.
Oh, it's me again. I'll do it later. But there's a nurse here who did all night duty. She's struggling. Okay, so we eventually land in Rangagat, and it is nicer. The reception is better. It's a cleaner, better system. They wheel her in, and she disappears before I can get in there. She's gone, the mother. But I do manage. Okay, so I drop her off. I explain the story. Yes, I kind of lie a little bit because I know they're going to freak out. Okay, she had ruptured membranes not on Monday, on Tuesday evening. And when did she start contractions? Wednesday, maybe Thursday morning. Shorten a few things. How many weeks? How much gestation? 40 weeks. 40 weeks? Why did you let her go 40 weeks? She should have been, she should have had her baby at 30 weeks, 37, 38, 30, 37, 38 weeks. No. Do I have to really tell you, doctor, who are you? Don't you know that normal human gestation is 38 to 42 weeks? 40 weeks is the middle. That's the general. Okay. Like that. Instead of arguing on, well, I'm grateful he didn't say, no, it's supposed to be 38 weeks. He at least accepted my truth and then dismissed it. At least he did that.
So, like this one.
In Manoram, there was the on-call doctor. So he comes. And yes, I want to establish communication with these places. And there's a good reason for this. Wait till I end with this story. Like I said, this is the beginning of the rest of the story. So, how you thought we lived here. I know, I'm still tired. Still tired. So we get there. We tell him this. What was the other thing? Ruptured membranes. No, it was something else. Oh, pushing. He didn't even. I was grateful he didn't mention the membranes. He actually, maybe he didn't know what SROM was, but we got to. Do you know what SROM is? Have you heard that? Is it? Because I taught you. That's right. You're my student. You can't fool me. Okay, so what was the other thing? She was in labor. It was something other lame. It was a lame thing. And I said, no. I said, no, I've done a lot of births and no, I don't do it like that. And I I forget what it was, but it was pretty imbecilic. Sorry. Very, very uneducated. Silly question. He was concerned about the bleeding. So, okay, here's an honest to goodness report to anybody and a question that I have regarding based on something I saw and you saw it too. So always, when a woman is in labor and the cervix dilates, you get bleeding, right? it's a mucousy bleeding. So much, this is what we're getting, mucousy bleeding. You know, the first thing I do if I'm checking, I pull my fingers out, look at my glove. And I go like this too. Oh, it's the first thing I do. There was a point where there was bright red blood, no mucus. You saw that. I think you mentioned, or somebody mentioned it. I think you mentioned it.
She said she felt like she was peeing, there's a little blood.
And she did continue to
Yeah.
pee. She did continue to, if it wasn't pee, and sometimes it was,
Yeah, it was.
what the hell was that? We used the litmus, never mind. I only say that because we were using a pH paper that did not register anything. But there was fresh red blood that came out. So often I will also see that as a sign of the baby moving over the cervix and beginning to come. So that's why that encouraged me to check it another time.
6 a.m. when she was on the chair pushing, there was like a lot of like the mucusy.
It just hangs.
Yeah, seeing that at the I forget the number for birth. The one that was really quick.
Yeah.
Seeing it
10. She's 10.
Baby came just like that. So,
Yeah. Every birth is like this. They have that mucousy blue, except for number 7, not 7, 8. Somebody who just came.
One that didn't have
13.
Yeah.
The one who we have to get the letter for, NK. Yeah, she didn't have much bleeding at all. She was a freak. But so I had this bright red blood, and I'm thinking baby might be moving through. So, but no such luck. Okay, so we go to the hospital, and that's it. That's it for me in my brain. I go to the hospital as I'm handing over the case. That's how we say it, handing over the case. And you do a case review. You hand over the case, you talk together. This is the situation. He asks me, was there any bleeding? Yes, just the normal cervical bleeding. And then I click that red bleeding. I didn't say anything, but it just something to, every now and then some informational twig, bleeding. Okay. We discuss, they put the IV in her. They discuss cesarean. We know, look, yeah, we're expecting a cesarean. At this point, they do the blood pressure again, and it's 170/103. They've started a few IVs. They've given her an injection that I wasn't really aware of. And then they hooked something else up, and I'm busy talking to the doctor. And so they say, yes, the doctor will come in and there will be a cesarean. However, so I leave it around, let's say 3. The cesarean's scheduled for 9. In the meantime, they augment the labor. They give her a Pitocin drip. Anybody think anything wrong with this? When he mentioned he brought up the red bleeding.
What? Why Pitocin? She was having contractions, right? Did they do a PV and see where the baby was?
Wait for it. Okay.
Okay.
So when I'm getting ready to leave, they're going to do an ultrasound. They're going to do more blood tests. And I do understand that. You do have a concern running a cesarean. Now, all of this stuff I actually explained to the mother before we left the house. They're going to be concerned with your blood pressure. And it's pretty typical that when you transfer somebody, when in that transferring, their blood pressure rises, they are in anxiety. Another thing to note, women, when they get transferred, at this point, they can give up. Even my women at home usually don't give up. But once they get into that car, they fully give up. And if they were giving up before, they really give up in the ambulance. Get there. He's asking me about the tearing? Is there stress? Because there's concern about uterine rupture. He says this to me. So, and I say, there's maybe some disproportion, but there's failure to progress. The baby's not descended any further. Okay, well, we'll get we'll have an ultrasound and check the pelvis, and we'll run these IVs, and we will check her blood and da-di-da. And this is what's going to happen. Okay. And so they get her ready, and I say my goodbyes, and I come back. In the meantime, it turns out at 9 o'clock, they do the ultrasound. But first, they've given her 6 hours of induction. They've 6 hours of induction. Because the doctor wasn't going to come in till 10 o'clock. It also increases risk to the baby and to the mother. And if they were worried about uterine rupture, it increases the risk of uterine rupture. Wait for it. Bloody wait for it. So, yeah, the buffoons give her Pitocin and they increase the contractions, saying they're hoping she's going to deliver naturally. Dude, if I bring a baby to the hospital, it ain't going to happen naturally. It's not going to happen naturally unless the mother had a thing that actually she did want to be in the hospital. I did have this. And finally she gets there and drops like, oh, why didn't you do I knew you were going to do this. She was the Sankirtan leader. Does that tell you? Correct. So by 9 o'clock, the ultrasound technician comes in and manages to do an ultrasound, and he says her pelvis is contracted and that there is no way the baby could descend into the pelvis. So what's the logic again behind giving Pitocin? What are the dangers that were just presented by the Pitocin? Wait for it.
If that was the case, they could have done the sonography first and then they could have gone for Pitocin.
So in a normal hospital, you have somebody on call all the time. You don't have somebody go, oh, look, I'll come in at 9, all right? Oh. The surgeon goes, oh, look, my wife is making me waffles this morning. I'm coming in at 10. That's bullshit. No hospital does this. In Australia, in America, in Hawaii, so many places, any places that actually know how to run a hospital. That guy comes in or he sleeps in the hospital. You only have one guy, get 2 guys. Turn them on and off. Yeah. But you don't wait 6 hours to run an ultrasound after augmenting a woman's labor. After you already chastised me that I told her we went from 6 a.m. to 9:30. We went from 6 a.m. to 9:30 in second stage already. So without drugs. So now you're going to make her go another 6 hours. And actually, then there's the time that it took to transfer. That's 2 hours there at least, just to get there. And then you're going to make her wait another 6 hours for an ultrasound, and then another hour till you actually perform the operation. Okay, operation is now performed. Baby comes out very quickly, very nicely. Good shape, man, that baby. You saw those pictures. That baby is the most shuntiest baby on the planet. It's just sitting there. What's the fuss? So what's the fuss? Nine's uterus shredded from the inside. They're Yeah. She tore on the inside of her uterus. There were tears all over, and they had to suture. All these tears. She was in there for another 2.5 hours. She lost a lot of blood. And something else to note, I don't know if you noticed, the last 2 times I checked her, I went in and again, pull my hand out and look at my fingers. What did you see?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Nothing. No blood, which I don't usually see. That was unusual to me. So after all this time, every time getting mucus or blood, this time, the 531 and the 931, the gloves were clean, no blood, no blood. I think they're going to give us. Yes, that's a routine. Giving Pitocin is routine. They will always do. Exactly. It's protocol and it's a dangerous one. It's how you kill people. And they almost killed her.
So you mean the Pitocin tore her uterus?
That's what
Yes.
Ah,
The
get
baby
it.
could not descend. That baby was not budging. It was clear. Now, of course, you give a trial of labor. You always work this way, right? Because we know the the pelvis can stretch and move and twist and expand. We know the baby's head can mold and shape shift. So the two together, they can move through the pelvis. That's why we give a trial of labor, give it a go. But in this case, that wasn't the case. Did they give magnesium? I'm assuming they did. I did tell them that that's what they probably would give her magnesium to lower the blood pressure. Because again, you don't want to cut into a woman with high blood pressure. Again, think of the heart and your blood vessels as being a pump. You guys need to learn how to farm and how to repair cars. This is very important. You need to understand pistons and chambers. If you cut the fuel line and it's under pressure, so you want to make sure you want to bring the blood pressure down before you cut her. Yep. So they find all these tears in her. They suture her up. They give her blood and more fluids. They keep her in recovery for an extra 5 hours. Usually it's just 2 or 3 hours. They were concerned at this point that she would continue to hemorrhage internally. So they were prepared to take her back into surgery where they said later that they were almost going to do a hysterectomy. So the next day, moving right along, breastfeeding problems, do you think there'll be any? Okay, so now we're on to that. Now we're on to this. She pulled through fine. Tears she did not continue to bleed. God knows what they would do. What, give more Pitocin? Right? Isn't that what you would do with that? If you weren't thinking, wouldn't you just turn and grab the bottle of Pitocin and give her another injection without thinking that actually that's what caused the problem in the first place? So shepherd's purse would have been nice. That's not going to do that. That's not going to.
Just hold from making a long term. What can you do with having like this like really crafty.
And so the next day, she feels like hell. I caused my child so much problem. I put her through so much suffering. She's feeling so bad about herself. And of course, God knows what the mother-in-law is saying. We do know what the hospital is saying. You could have killed your child. You caused her so much problem. They said something about meconium and infection, but we never saw a drop of meconium. We never saw this baby. This baby was strong and just kept going with the contractions. Oh my God, she was hilarious. She's the one you can tickle her feet and she laughs, She does. She bounces up and down and laughs, She was happy. And I'll forward the photos and even the video of her. Right afterwards, she was great.
Yeah.
Give her a few hours in the doctor's care. Not so much. So first thing they're worried. So of course, now we have to check for all these things. As of a few hours ago, when I spoke to Merle yesterday, she had not seen her daughter.
Mhm.
She had not held her daughter. Not held her. She has seen her. But they bring to the breast, no milk. Take her away. She's on formula. The baby has scalp IV. She was perfectly, sorry for my language, girls, put your fingers in your ears. Fucking later. Yeah, now the baby's dehydrated, but babies get dehydrated. Oh, she's hypothermic. You're going to love that. Yeah, you guys. Baby's hypothermic. We need to take her away. Yeah, I knew you'd like that. I reckon we need to bust the system. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. We have to bust this system. We can make it a beautiful system, really. It could be so much nicer. We could, instead of terrorizing this family, like even now, oh, baby's getting cold, give her to her mother.
Just give it a chance.
Skin to skin.
Yeah.
Proven. Statistics, skin to skin, skin to skin, skin to skin. Nowhere is it statistically decided to take the baby away from the mother and hook it up. Oh, what's his name? Bessoff? Bill Gates?
Oh.
Bill Gates. He's working on this. He's working on this. And the pods. It's the safer way to do it. And when you do that, you put the baby next to the breast. What's next? Milk comes. I told you what she's doing. Baby will do this. Nipple will get hard. Nipple, milk, breast goes, hey, glands. Hey, Glenn, hey, you glands. Almost like Glenn. Hey, Glenn. Talk to Glenn. We need some milk down here. Honey lagbe. And that's how it works. And the colostrum, we all know. How come these guys don't know about colostrum? These are the people receiving the baby right afterwards. They don't know about skin to skin. Oh, the baby's hypothermic. Let's take him away. How about at what is it? What? Hospital. Something else, shelter. Nursing home, nursing home. Again, I'm going to have to say it. Don't scolding us for bringing yellow clothes.
What?
We got chastised for bringing yellow clothes. Why? Because it would cause jaundice for the baby. You've heard this?
Yellow clothes not allowed because we jaundice not identified. I got it. What is the I so don't get it.
Me neither. Actually, the best logic I can give with that, if I was going to give them a benefit of the doubt, was the yellow towel, like you're sitting against a yellow wall, so more yellow tones will come out.
Yeah.
That's the best I can say. And maybe maybe they had trouble with their eyesight. That's the best credit I could give them. But even so, then start painting your hospital walls black, blue. But also learn how to test skin tone. You don't look, because babies come out different colors. You have gray babies, Negro babies, black babies come out gray. You guys come out caramel. My people come out yellow gray. Yeah, not so nice. These are the only pink people in the world. The people above the equators. So you check with the skin, you press and you look at the undertone. Yeah, but anyway, this is the kind of stuff we deal with. Taking the babies away. They have to be put under Billy lights that don't exist. It's a light. So when I speak to the mother, she's beating herself up. She's very upset with herself. Why did I do all these things? Look at what has happened to me. My answer to her is exactly. Treatment for jaundice is more breastfeeding, not formula. Not formula. Actually, it compounds the problem because formula is chemical. And the problem with jaundice is the liver being overburdened. So what do? Add chemicals. And who has to deal with chemicals? The liver. Think, people, think. This is why I said early on, critical thinking. You must learn critical thinking. Don't be so stupid that a woman shows up. Well, it's our routine. We must always give Pitocin. And not think? No. What's the first thing you do when a woman shows up at your hospital? Open her goddamn chart. What is the issue? Because Pitocin may be the absolute wrong thing you should be doing. And waiting another 8 hours? And what are you doing when you put that Pitocin in? You're not getting anywhere? So what? Every hour you're turning it up? What are you doing, people? So. Yes. Causing the contractions. But if we do it naturally, the uterus won't rip itself to bits. It won't do that. We saw how the uterus was contracting and then not contracting. And then
see clearly, like
she's new. Tell me.
you could see it, very obviously, like,
Yeah,
I mean, I've never seen anything like it, but you could see.
you can see what it's doing. And when it's getting progress, it gets stronger.
I feel like when I was pushing your hips, you could feel like a little something, like
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
it's like you feel it.
Exactly right. So when we're doing the usual things, right? The pressing on the hips, trying to assist the baby to descend. And yes, so Rod has been through 3 births, yes?
Yeah.
Very, very different, one from another. Poor thing, 2 transfers. You're not allowed to converse anymore. But you will feel when you push in on these hips, you actually will feel the hip creak. It creaks. Did you feel it?
That I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
I feel like
You can feel a creak. You can feel a clunk. A creak and a clunk. That's what we want, people. Creaks and clunks. We have to make up a new song. We're gonna creak and clunk away. I like the Wiggles. Do you know the Wiggles? Sorry, a juvenile part of me. Okay, sorry, Mavon. So yes, she's being bombarded with self-doubt. And indeed, it's true that, and I told them this, and this is still the truth. Once you get taken to the hospital, you now belong to them. I can do nothing for you. I cannot speak. I can pass over information, but there's nothing more I can do for you. You belong to them. If you don't like something, you question and you question and you question. And if your wife asks a question, you do not let them speak down to her. You protect her. Now, of course, how good is this going to be in this case? You feel my pain. So, and the mother agrees. Look, I have to, I forget how the words, but at the moment she has to go with the flow. She has to follow where she's at. So she has to surrender, and I congratulate her for understanding this. Now, my concern now is I do not want to lose her. I do not want to lose caring for her. We did lose 5, 4, 6, no.
Is 7 in the question now also transferred?
No, she didn't get transferred.
7 is transferred.
Somebody,
7 and
the PPH, the big PPH. You were there. You were there.
Transferred that.
We did not.
Oh, we didn't transfer.
That's my point. So, but we lost her. We could, that's my point. So this woman had lost a lot of blood, and immediately the medical side, her husband was a medical practitioner, worked within the hospital, and immediately all the medical men attacked. And with that attack, there's a dynamic with Indian males too. They don't, when they get attacked by other males, they succumb, right? They bow. And they did not appreciate anything I did, and they would not allow me to. They interfered with the postnatal care, which I am not afraid to say I can do a whole lot better than they did. I could have done a whole goddamn lot better than they did. She would have been well in a week, week and a half. Instead, I don't think she is still well. Is this the case? Is she still dragging?
I didn't see her around.
Yeah, exactly right. We don't see her around. I'm not happy to say that. So when this one comes home, I don't want to lose her care. So when people come home from a hospital like this, they need extra care. Okay, thank you. Exactly right. Keep it coming. So Radha, are you able to share what you thought of what went down? Your experience, or even what you experienced in the last, what you took away?
Public speaking, I don't know. Really, I can say it's unstructured.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
do I sound structured?
Yes, quietly, and then be like, what did you say? What did you say?
It's really invasive. Keep going. And
Okay, I don't know if someone can hear me. I think that like most often travel lady was like, wow, this is beautifully done, courageously done, because she had so much. And there was times in the night, like she'd ask me like when's it gonna end, like she'd be crying and begging for help and stuff, and then she'd just pick it right up. And at one point I was like, wow, it's been like 12 hours since she was like asking for help, and she hasn't complained since, and she's just chugging along and like has a really positive attitude about it. I had like a feeling the whole time, like I kept hoping like I'd see the baby's head like I've seen it before. And I kept like, okay, please let this be over. Like she's working so hard, like come on. But then still nothing. And I had the weird feeling I was not gonna see baby being born. And I didn't know like why. And I remember because I was so tired, I went home and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna come back. I'm like, no, I need to come back. I need to see that baby actually come out. because I felt frustrated, right? That happened. You have to be like, and keep going. Um, but yeah, just her constraint and some things that also made like I kind of wondered like, is this affecting her? Like us being so tired? I wondered if she had honestly, because I was and like, you know, like I love you, but I am so tired. And I know I'm probably like I have like a tired, grouchy face is looking at you and like staring at your yoni must not be very encouraging.
Well, what about me?
Like, you know, I'm like falling asleep. And so I thought maybe like it would have been better if we had more people that could have like kind of sat with her throughout the longer bit of the process. Because at certain points, like, you know, we can't help being exhausted.
Hence, this is,
Yeah.
I've just created this thing. Yeah.
Like the full night being
She's looking what? Yes.
very first speaking that does not understand the ask.
Everything you don't,
No. Whatever spoken, understand.
yeah.
And this is very first. Oh, I'm very fast. Okay.
Okay.
What I'm saying is one thing I thought because we were very tired. We had been there an entire full night. I think you pretended to sleep, but weren't actually asleep. I got an hour and I came back in, was like squatting on the floor and like passing out. Like it's very difficult the whole night, you know.
And I continually laid down whenever
Yeah.
walked in, would look at something, not walk in. I'd lie on her bed.
Yeah, I was like lying down next to her and I'd like just have my eyes closed. She'd have a contraction and jump up and
Yes. I actually, when she moves off to something else, I immediately jumped on her bed. It was a big bed.
yeah.
And she had a really nice mattress. She had like, it was not bought in India. This was a Western mattress. Oh my God, it was like living on. It was so cool.
Yeah.
And there was another point when she and I both were curled up on the bed.
We're at a point with like drinking,
Both were on floors.
chair that I was sleeping in, like, you know, but I did think maybe it would, but again, I don't know, maybe she just couldn't have had the baby anyways, but during it, I was like, maybe she would be better off if she had more people that could just sit with her for this longer period. And like you come, you know.
Well, that's my ideal that I come
Yeah.
later when if
Yeah.
there's a problem, otherwise I don't come at all.
Discouraging for her, for us to like come
Be
and
falling
and-
asleep in front of them, yeah.
Okay, you're not making that much progress, we need to go sleep now, and then she maybe would get discouraged. That was kind of what I honestly was thinking, I wasn't sure. And I, you know, because it was obvious, like everyone was kind of, not like tired of her labor taking so long, but.
We were, no, physically,
Yeah,
there's a true physicality to this.
Yeah.
You know, as I was saying that there have been times I remember one birth I was at and the baby was crowning and I was, you know, I was doing the whole Bhagavatam class thing, right? You know, fully my hands there. My hands were dropping, you know. You know, and
then they would come and have them.
oh, by that it was so weird because usually this is when you buzz up, you know, you get a bit of you get an alert, you wake up, your second wind because your adrenaline's going because, you know, okay, everybody battle stations, you know, we're all ready to go. And I'm falling asleep and I can't direct. And again, I am aware I'm older now. I used to be able to be quicker, faster. I think there's a little problem with knowing too much after a while. Like I'm thinking a lot of things, and at one point, Shalagram, you look like you're really thinking. And I am. I'm running a lot of information and thoughts going back and forth. And without saying that family dynamics have been tense as hell for weeks leading up to it. I was close to kicking the mother-in-law out. People had to pull me back. And then, you know, it was supposed to be fixed out, and then it was, and then it actually really wasn't.
Yeah.
And with each, she kept, anyway,
even with her mother, like I
Got to a point.
yeah, but even I was thinking like I stress her out more because I tried to communicate encouraging things and then it didn't pan out. I was trying to give like what I could, which is encouraging with like gestures, and then she freaks out. So I'm like, should I have not spoken with her? I felt like that was an issue.
No, well, there certainly was an issue, and
Yeah.
the issue being that the mother did not speak English. She spoke French or Russian,
Yeah.
maybe German.
No, but like my Russian, I could say very good, you know, like and
Well done.
yeah. So I was that worried me. And then also the point where the husband came in and was like, your mother's calling the relatives.
Yes.
Say
Why did that was, he comes into the room and he announced loudly, yes, but this is the problem now. Everybody's afraid. So the neighbors are knocking on the door and your mother is calling all your relatives.
So you're my only child.
And I'm like, get out of here.
Uh,
You know, don't come into the room and say this to the mother.
yeah.
You can tell me, but don't. You know?
Came in and he waited respect for the contraction and I thought maybe he was gonna give some like verbal encouragement.
No, that's why she said, kept telling him, get out.
Yeah.
Get out. You're messing with my contractions. Get out. She never wanted him there. Because he always,
I remember like there was a time patting her head or trying to show things on the smartwatch.
oh my God, and the phone never stopped frickin' ringing
Yeah.
from overseas. He's taking business calls. Get out. Get out. It was just,
Also, I noticed like whenever we thought, or I guess when they thought she was starting to pick up, they would turn on kirtan, which is nice. But it was like it was the same thing playing over and over again and would turn off when they were like, ah, she's not really doing it. And like, is that subconsciously like affecting her? Because it's affecting me and I'm getting annoyed listening.
well, there you go.
You know,
There
like
you go.
let's maybe have something a little, you know,
Yeah.
like she's having a baby, how old child, like the slow line. Great beat, but maybe it's hard.
Only if you get up and dance, woman.
Sad.
They should put some reggae on them. We could have got her some dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, 'cause when we first got there, that was the kirtan was like, Jai, the baby's born, kirtan. We weren't quite at that moment yet, so I thought that kind of just seeing like all these little things, because I left and I felt so like disappointed, because like this entire time, like she was like my favorite mother to go for antenatals with. I was so excited for her.
Me too.
So I was like, what went wrong? What could have been done differently? Because I thought we held like space nicely. It was like a nice light atmosphere.
But we didn't hold space nicely.
No.
It wasn't our fault.
Yeah.
Those people were, we knew
Yeah.
those people had to be removed from the situation.
Okay.
During pregnancy, we knew it. We tried to eradicate them, but it didn't happen. She was supposed to move into the apartment, which is a whole nother story, by the way, for my people. I got to clear out that bloody apartment
Yeah.
and wait till you see what we're moving into. He missed that they do not know what we need.
For Indians, you better remove. That's my suggestion.
Just remove the Indians.
Yeah. Especially mother-in-law, daughter-in-law.
Oh, I agree with that. No, we can't do this. We can't do this. So in this case, it's been difficult since 2010 for me. What do you do? This is a new element. It wasn't there before. But this is a very, very powerful beast. And it needs to be taken away and fed in another paddock.
Somebody told me you made a protocol, no mother-in-laws allowed, no sister-in-law.
No in-laws, bus, you know, and the father has to pass a certain test if we let him.
That's times like I remember both of us went out and they were all standing there and we both turned around because we're like, oh god.
Oh, I hated going, you get into this dynamic.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
have it
so-
written in my contract
What?
that I will not attend a birth if a mother or mother-in-law is there, if they have not attended any home birth or had home birth themselves. It is in my contract. I'm like, I'm not working with mother-in-laws. Otherwise, we are not working together.
Don't blame you. Don't blame you. This is, it's not fair to the women. Now, I look after the women.
You
It's
don't
not-
make them sign any contract, Kale. Is there any paperwork are you doing?
Mute her, just mute her.
No, hang on.
No, you need a contract. Don't. Don't hide your face.
I think you're getting the second time better than the contract now.
Yeah, yeah, someday I'll get it together.
I felt like we were like in like a fortress
If-
with like
If you
siege.
want, I can send you mine. You can do modifications.
Yes, please do, please do.
Yes, I will. I have
Yeah.
I have shared it several times on the group, but I'll send it to you. You read it and you make your
Cute.
modifications and make them sign something. They cannot just, come at your throat after the birth goes, the way it
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, this one particular one, I feel kind of safe in a sense, simply because actually they did a terrible screw up afterwards. If they're concerned about anything I did before, then why the hell did they do any of the things they did after? If they were that worried about anything I was doing, and why didn't I Caesar her earlier? Then why didn't they schedule a Caesar the moment I walked in? No, they thought it was okay to wait another 8 hours and add induction to the mix. After already I told them 14 hours, second stage. What you doing? I didn't move here. I didn't transfer all the way here for nothing. So you could watch them again.
Yeah. I was super impressed with it. And then I was just still kind of trying to understand what went wrong because she's really like, even like in the right before we were transferring her, she was like chit-chatting with me.
Yes.
It's like she hadn't been awake for days. She was like peppy, like laughing. So I couldn't really wrap my head like, why is this so difficult?
Well,
I'm
so there's
watching every
always
contraction, like nothing.
nothing. Yeah.
Did I see the head or was that not? Well, so it was nothing.
You were seeing, because I kept thinking I was seeing, is that a bit of a head?
That looks like
Almost. So the
like,
skull. So
yeah.
as you know, when the baby descends, this, I've got hair here, but the skull.
yeah.
What's the word for this? Scrunches. Okay, you will find it in the medical dictionary. The head will scrunch.
Okay.
And sometimes, and I'm expecting that there might be caput. I
Yeah.
think there'd be some swelling. So, yeah, you can have these little funny things of a scalp, right? The squishy scalp, and it can show at the top. So you thought you saw something near the
Yes.
clitoris or the urethra?
Slowly, her opening more, and I could clearly see inside, and I saw something that was solid. And it was not, what I expect to see inside the yoni or to be able to see inside. So I thought, okay, maybe I'm seeing.
Was it at the top or the bottom?
It was filling the whole space. It's not like it opened up that much.
Correct.
Yeah.
I never saw it. I
Yeah.
never saw it open more than
Yeah, it wasn't that much.
like this.
Quite sure. Like, is
Yeah.
it supposed to be this slow? That
It
nothing
can be.
seems to be happening.
It can be. My daughter took 14
Yeah.
hours to push out Olipi.
Which is that, yeah, there was a point where she was on the bed pushing with a shawl around and it was just like, this isn't,
Nothing was happening.
this is not.
Nothing was happening.
But-
It just wasn't budging. So it's possible.
Yeah.
So now we've spoken a lot of her psychology and what could have been happening. However, and this is why I say it's important, there also can be, it's quite possible, there is a physiological problem that maybe her pelvis is contracted somewhere, that the baby did not negotiate through the pelvis. Sometimes this happens. So the only way, and that's why I said, well, this is interesting after they said, I'm coming to a thought, why is the baby not descending? Something is blocking. I cannot feel anything blocking. And this kind of block is either blockage or blockage. Ultrasound reports back, yeah, there's some small diameter. It says there's some smaller, short diameter, whatever that means. Let's see. The way to check your hands. So, and at the time, Merle, the mother was happy to say, oh, let's check. She was keen for me to check her pelvis and see exactly what are they saying. So, and I myself am keen to check her pelvis and see, okay, we did recently talk, if you go to the earlier pages there, or maybe the later pages, somewhere in there, about the different types of pelvises. And so, and it's not, there's like these 4 types of pelvises, but you can have part of this pelvis and part of that pelvis. So we can look and check. That's why we do pelvimetry. And again, here's a dilemma for me, an old midwife, who you will look with Ina Mae Gaskin, with Elizabeth Davis. They start off, we do pelvimetry at the first or second exam. And we're checking the woman's pelvis. And then after a while, we decide this is invasive, so I stopped doing it. But now I have a woman sitting in this situation. And I think I had another thought recently too, with somebody else. And it would have been nice to know her pelvimetry beforehand. In labor, it's very difficult to get everything. The baby has started to descend, so I can't reach other parts. The head's in the way. When I can tell you about this baby, and I did not force myself, I do not force myself. You can see when the mother isn't happy and they will stop me, and I will stop. I get to a point I'm feeling, and I do have small fingers. So I'm reaching and I'm trying to feel the bony pelvis. And you get to, I know I got to go over here. And I sure as heck, when I turn my fingers around and I'm going into that arch, that sacral arch, plenty room. That's a nice deep arch. If you have one of the pelvises has kind of a flat arch, sacrum. She had a nice scoop.
You mean this mother?
Yes, yeah. Yes, this one. Here was great. Here was just like I would have thought. Just like that. Here, I get head. Zero station, maybe -1, but 0 station. Hits here. I follow the head, bang, hit the pelvis. I try to go down before I can, and I swish around, I'm checking everything, and I'm talking to the mother. I want your baby to come down here. This is the pressure's on the anus, blah, 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 blah. You know what I say. Cannot in labor do pelvimetry. No, you can't because the head's in the way. Did you feel anything odd during the labor at all? Just that the baby sat here and did not budge. Did not budge. I can also say the baby didn't try very hard either. You know, you do get babies who are, you know, I'm getting out of here. I don't like this. I'm getting out of here. You can't stop, you know, no. And they actually they'll wiggle. They really won't make an effort.
Like when she felt it, she would tell me, it wasn't that often.
It wasn't that often. And how's your baby? I can feel. So it kind of seems like she's going.
I'd be like, wow, it's head turn.
Yeah, maybe. But nothing. I don't do reposo. I have my own reposo routine.
But you did the sitting.
I dance with them, you know, my kind dancing, all the kind with the hip and the hula, and we're gonna get down. And then I do the thing where they sit in my lap. Oh, when I'm doing that, we do the hip thing. And then I'm also shaking. I just shake them. I grab them by their hips and shake them. I'll get my leg between their leg and knock their knees apart and wiggle them a bit. At some point, I get them to sit into my lap. And so I think some of you may have seen me do it. The mother will sit into my lap. My legs will be apart. Her legs will be straddled over here. So she's sitting and I'm like this, and I'll be doing this. Now I'm getting a cramp.
That's true, but like when you do the shifting and mother is on all fours and her hips are in the air, that kind of sometimes takes the baby's head away from where it is stuck and gives the baby a chance to re-engage again. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, we did all of that. I do this thing of taking the baby by the shoulder. It's the same thing. I know it. I'll grab the shoulder. Even sometimes when I'm inside, I'll grab the shoulder and lift the baby out of the pelvis, give him a shake again, come on down, do it. You know, so I'm feeling outside. I get the shoulder. I can, you know, sometimes I'll bounce them back and forth. Come on, you know, things like that. So it's yeah, it's the same theory and thing. But none of it worked, none of it changed anything. And that was the thing. There is absolutely no change, no change, no change. It just, yeah, nothing. And as Rod is discussing, sitting on the toilet, we're looking, and we certainly were really being hopeful at this point. And at this point, this is when the mother's really pushing very hard. She's on the toilet, she's got her legs up.
Her eyes were like,
Yeah, and she's giving it
Yeah.
all she had. Wasn't afraid of the noises or whatever. Noises or neighbors, which is why there are neighbors at the door with helpful suggestions. So the other thing I know, and I keep explaining, this is anal, this is anal, this is anal. I did show her those pictures, but obviously I'm going to have to start showing those pictures a whole lot more. I might put them up in the bedroom, in the labor room, the one that says Ilford. You'll have maybe. I did not. You could see a little bit. So, you know, when somebody's sitting on the toilet, you've got that thing, right? You got the little heart-shaped thing going with their butt. But as the baby descends, this becomes, does that make sense? You know, okay, we will do the pictures. Yes, I am 66. So that you see how the perineum drops, the anus drops, and I'm trying to show you. That didn't work. The anus, the rectum dilates. Oh, look, even before that picture is this picture. So we never got that.
no.
We never got that. We never got anything like that. At some point, I was hoping that's what I saw. And I kept moving away that pubic hair. There was a bit that I kept pushing away. Yeah, but we never got that. We never got this. I'm never going to get this if I don't get this. This comes first. Very much first. So when you're seeing a woman, as I'm saying, so here's your bum. You know how bums usually look, like I say, that little W. You don't get that now. You get a bowl. You don't go like this anymore. It goes like this. Yeah. So again, I never got descent. I'm very encouraging in my own brain, even. Okay, that's a little descent.
Yeah.
That's a little, okay. Oh, that was good. That looked good. And that would, you know, there were pushes. Oh, that looked good. I could see some movement. And then back. Oh, good. I could hear her or see some pressure on that rectum. Great. And then gone. So That's why we transfer.
What is that upside? I can't understand. What is that?
Where?
No, it's not. Another, this is in the room pressure from.
This one?
This upside down. What is that? It's in the pressure. It's the one. She said she felt she's.
So what you're seeing, the first thing that happens as the baby descends into the pelvis, it puts pressure on the anus and the rectum first. And the anus actually is the first thing that actually opens. And what you see, so as the baby's coming out, it's pushing the rectum.
Yes.
The rectal wall is being seen, is visible through the anus. And because it's a baby's head that's, and women really, it's a big stool. What's another word? what do you guys say when you make a bowel movement? Bowel movement? Is that okay? So it's like having a really, really, really big bowel movement. It feels like going to the toilet. And so a lot of times when women have to get that through their heads because we're very shy about such things. We're very shy about our anuses. And you really want to protect that thing. And you really want to sit on that thing. You cannot, man, lift that butt up. Oh, yeah. And show that anus. I know the things we have to do in life. I've been talking to him. Does it have to be so humiliating? Anyway. So yes, apparently he says, yeah, sorry, it's going to be humiliating. It's going to be painful. You can make your own prayers. I've been doing it for you guys for a long time now. You have to a woman has to feel comfortable. They get worried. Oh no, I'm going to pass stool. Yeah. What's wrong with you? Pass stool. Yeah. Get used to it. That's what you're going to do. First thing you're going to do is pass stool. You hold on to that stool. You hold on to your baby. Let it out. Yeah. Don't be afraid. And she never was. Yeah. Anything else with that? Yeah.
I'm just wondering, like, during the antenatal, did you take any like telemetry you were talking about?
No, this is what I'm saying. This is part of my thoughts. So as I say, in the early days, like I'm starting in the 70s, right? I started midwifery in the 70s. So, and my first book to inspire me is Spiritual Midwifery by Ina May Gaskin. So this is real hippie. Well, not just that. She was trained, let's say, our medical training came through an apprenticeship with a local medical doctor. So at the time, that was the general standard of care, that when a woman first came to see you, besides taking all her medical history as we do, we would do pelvimetry and get an idea. And then sometime in the 80s, this became unpopular. It was considered invasive, right? So that, and doing internal exams. So also Ina May Gaskin and Elizabeth Davis were saying back in that time, from the 35th week onward, when you see a woman, you would do an internal and check her pelvis again and the baby and the cervix. And certainly I found that very, very interesting. I got really interesting information and some of the stories I've told with interesting things that I found during these exams before I went to the birth. And what I learned about a cervix and a vagina and how they react. But it became unpopular, so I stopped doing it. here is a situation where having done pelvimetry might have been giving me information on this woman. So let's say I go in and I find, oh, right, the ischial spine on her left is prominent. This one's fine, but this one is really prominent and sticking out, which would mean it's forcing the baby onto her right. And certainly the baby was on the right the whole time. Nice size baby too. Maybe it would have given me more information to work with her, or again, in the 80s, there was a woman, Wintergreen, pelvic awareness. She started doing this thing on pelvic awareness and would teach pregnant women about their pelvises and get in touch with your pelvis, you know, for their perineal massage. Get used to your vagina was one thing, but she's like, get used to your pelvis, your bone, because that's where the baby's going through, and you can learn to work with it. So these are kinds of things that I've learned through the years, have been using. And as I've said, and I'll say it again, I'm getting tired, and I'm too tired to do this shit anymore. Honestly, it was hard enough to put her in my lap and jump her up and down like that. I did straight away start getting leg cramps, and I have leg cramps now. It's just part of my old age. You saw me after I was playing in the park. What happened? I put my hands out.
Yeah, it's it.
I'm getting old. That's what happens to me when I play music. My hands will start shaking. Used to, yeah. Yeah, I don't want to. I could have marched her up and down the stairwell, but I was happy not to, and used it. You know, I was happy that she had swollen feet, so I didn't have to do it. I have a lot of my students either have physical weaknesses or they have two-legged weaknesses.
What's that mean?
Baby brats. Yeah, they have to look after their babies. So they aren't available to me. They have to go home. So this is why I kind of made this negotiation with Lakshmi you guys get rostered on and rostered off. So I want to kind of, meaning you don't use the word roster, do you? Duty sheet. What do you say? You guys get scheduled? Duty sheet. Okay, so you get rostered. Yeah, okay. Okay. So I want to be able to have someone who I can keep awake for a while. And then we needed more people to spell people in and out, you know, so I can get 2 people from the hospital, and then they can play tag team, and we can, also it's good to have 2 people who are medically trained, who can quickly do things. What a relief it was that you could go and suture.
Yeah, but I had no idea you wanted that, so I'm glad you ended up going.
Yeah, and at one point somebody was reaching for you. Yeah.
You called me first and said you wanted help cleaning up, and I was like, well, I'm sleeping, cleaning up doesn't sound so bad, but if I'd actually gone there, I don't know how to do that at all.
Suturing. Oh, no one was asking you to suture. I think they were actually asking you to help with the baby.
Oh.
There was an issue because Induleka had her daughter, Durandi. So there was a point where she just, someone's got to get this kid.
That's the first time she contacted me to take care of the kid. My husband contacted me later to help clean up his wife, is what he said. Yeah.
Oh, wow. See, this is no good. Can't be like this. I don't like that.
I went there, and then baby was on the father's hand. Then and when I come after this sons and one more son, their son was playing there around. Mother was just there, like full of my blood. I went to ask you to remember what I had to do. See,
You got me. Oh my God, but I hate to tell you that happens so much at home births, and that's the way it's happened where my kids have been with me. You know, I've told you, one daughter has to hold the torch, the flashlight on where I'm suturing, and no, here, Kanani, and the light goes bang. Mandakini, get the light off your sister. Come here. No effort with Kanani, whatever Kanani. Just Manda, come here, get the light.
The younger boy was like that. He wants to come in. He wants to get.
Another one, I had this single mother, and it was way up in the hills, and she was alone out, whoop, whoop. And I knew she was alone, and she had a 2-year-old. So I knew I had to bring at least one of my kids. I ended up bringing like 3 or 4. And we came, and the first thing, we go in the room, and it was just bare. The house was pretty bare. And she's just in the middle, leaning on one of these chairs like this on all fours. And there's toys all over the place between her legs. She breaks water and goes right over all the toys. And the kids have to Kanani, get the broom. You know, we broom out sweep the toys out from between the legs. It's the baby. My kids are right with the little girl right here playing with the Legos, and we catch the baby. So this is a very typical, life of midwife. Oh boy. But it's fun. My kids remember it. They still haven't forgiven me, but anyway.
It was nice just to go there and help it out when needed.
When needed.
I said,
So, and this is what I really want to fix and tighten up here. Make good solid teams. We are going to get more and more births. They are going to keep coming. And I really need to slow down. I need to save my brain power for where it's needed. That was hard for me to go through so many things, and to sadly, I'm still grieving, it's actually a physiological event. So they say 5 years, I'm almost up. But until then, I get triggered, and I got triggered at that birth quite a bit, going through all of what, just calling my husband an asshole again, just before he dies. Oh boy. Don't worry, he said Hare Krishna. It was just my fault. But I kept going through that and telling my daughters, and then processing that and going, why the hell are you thinking this shit now? And then Shalagram walks in telling me, no, Krishna, please, no, don't do this. Yeah, it's hard. So that's why and I can take you 24 hours when the time is up. She said she can give you, I like it. She's going to give you to me. But I'm gonna work it out right now. I won't take you all the time just yet, but I need to.
lots of courage to her.
Yeah. I'm gonna do to her what I did to you.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's too much.
Exactly. And you kind of help her, because you know what I'm gonna do to her. Are you worried yet?
No.
I'm going to work on this. So that's the next thing. Get tight teams. This woman's coming back. We need to look after her. Everybody's pushing for the paperwork, which is something different. Billing is coming hard at me now. The hospital is hitting me for money back. I've spoken to your husband. I should mute some of this. So I have the whole thing has to get tightened down. Yeah. So I've been loosey-goosey for a year now, and now everybody's pulling me in. Come on. So billing has to be taken care of, which means I now start having to be more formal about presenting bills to the mothers and charging the parents. Any of the stuff that I've been making, blah, blah, blah. I just need to tighten the ship down. I want to make this more organized. I need organization with can you help me with my life, please? Please? I can't handle it anymore. I've got stuff everywhere and I can't find anything. I need that kind of support and help. Okay. We do have to move stuff out of the apartment. Anyway, yeah, there. Any questions? Anybody in TV land?
I was just wondering if the mother was not transferred, she could have delivered, or just wondering, because I heard the mother was already, she was not strong enough to go with the birth.
I don't know. She wasn't doing it. I don't think she could have. I don't think she would have done it. Could she do it? I don't know. Maybe she could have, but she didn't. And again, I want to be very, very careful. I do not want to blame women. Okay, you failed to progress. You didn't have your baby, because of the problems with your mother-in-law. You didn't have your baby. I don't want any of that I do not want blame ever to be put onto the mother. As I say, she is feeling that she unnecessarily put her child through so much pain and suffering. It is not true. Like I say, you go look at that girl, that's not true. She's fine. And if any pain and suffering comes now, the hospital did it and their procedures did it. And we can see it. They presented us with all the evidence. So
I'm curious, what is everything that she went through? What does that say for like future pregnancies or just for cycles health?
yeah, scary, eh?
Yeah. I wonder even just like getting your periods back, things like that.
Yeah.
What's that gonna look like?
I don't know, because I've never had a uterus shred on me
Yeah.
before.
Oh my God, like
I was also wondering, when they did the sonography, didn't they see any bleeding?
No.
I mean, if they didn't see me, there was no bleeding before, right? Usually in sonography, they are like, these things are diagnosed. I mean,
Yeah,
we can just clearly tell whether bleeding is going on.
I don't know, but also I did want to make mention, I don't know if you noticed, and I should have spoken it out loud, but there are times when I put my hand on the uterus and I would feel it. And I'm not palpating, it's clear I'm not palpating, but I just put my hand on it and I'm squeezing. And I put pressure. Sometimes I was doing what they call ballottement. I was actually bouncing the baby, pushing up and down, there's room, bounce, bounce, bounce. But there are other times that I'm actually touching and I'm just giving. What I'm checking for is internal bleeding. That's why I did that. Especially once I get in there and I pull out and no blood. What the hell is that? So I feel, does that hurt? And I'm feeling now, if she isn't bleeding internally when I press on this, she's not going to like it. It hurts. Internal bleeding is painful. And they start reacting, they start losing strength.
yeah.
They start getting weak. She only got brighter and stronger.
See cheeks, like
She
you
got
are
clear and
stunning.
clear. She was stunning. She got clear. I was worried, needless to say, I'm worried like anything about that bloody blood pressure and her swelling. Yeah. Now, if she had looked like crap out of there, she never looked bad. If she had those stupid things like this and
she didn't look tired, like
nothing. We're the ones falling asleep all around her and tagging out. There she's going, fuck you, wuss. She just marches on. Yeah. I don't know, it was like, what, she was strong, the bleeding, that's what I was talking about. Good point. I don't know.
Because usually in sonography. they
You
see
would
that
think.
it's actually seen if there was like.
If there was shredding, they should have seen it, and if there was bleeding, if there's shredding, there's gotta be bleeding, right?
Hmm.
Or not?
Yeah, that is also another question, but still they can see the things out, right? And
Not necessarily. Come on, we know what
Yes.
ultrasounds.
I mean, the maximum chances are there, they could see, that's what they say. And I have like, they did the things out there and in some other parts, so I've been to sonography. That's how like I know that things can be seen like that. Also, might be not seen also, that is another thing, because of the baby or something like that.
Yeah,
That's another.
but I do want to see if we didn't have ego fights,
Yeah, then.
I would like to sit down and have a woman to man talk. And, yeah, I saw this. Yeah, you're right. I did see that. And then no more blood. And then what was that? And then, okay, yeah, you did that. Next time, don't do that. And okay, then you did why, yeah, I'd like to share information. And this is how we learn, but it doesn't work when they're going to point the finger at me and say, you didn't do this, that, the other thing. You know me, I don't bite first, but I will bite back. I will bite back with the truth only. And if I'm at fault, my bad. So finish with this, but as mentioned, I do have this conference to go to, and I do want to share information there. Information such as this. And these types of transfer scenarios, hospital scenarios, experiences for women, even as much as this hospital is trying, and there's many, many people out there who are trying, they just don't know what they're doing. So even here, they have good intentions, but a couple of comments from the heads here have been, well, the women are too educated these days, and now they are spoiled, and it's hard to control them. Or, wanting to talk to somebody else. Yes, whatever it takes, as long as you can control the women and things like this. That one thing that was said to me yesterday, which is true, but women in India these days do not want to tolerate the pain of labor. My daughter asked for a cesarean. She chose to have a cesarean so she didn't have to tolerate the pain of labor. I asked, what happened? This thing happened, that thing happened, that thing happened. Was there any pain? Oh, Mataji, for weeks afterwards, even now it's a year later, she has problem. Nobody mentions this. When somebody says, I can't tolerate the pain of labor, well, what do you think? Pain of after pain of the dealing with a cesarean goes for weeks, even a year, even for the rest of your life.
Okay.
Don't be lied to. Don't be lied to. We need to tell the women this, and we need to support the women, protect the women, and let them know how powerful they are, just like this one we just did. And even if there is an issue, we can fix it, we can deal with it, we can take you somewhere, but we will not undermine them all the way. So hopefully anyway, any ideas for that conference, just let me know. Okay, thank you so much. Any questions or anything else? Any follow through? Anybody? Okay. Mayvon has a lot of contact with his mother, and I'd really, really like you to keep up with it. If we need to communicate more, let's do it. Thank you, Radhika. Yeah, I really, really want to look after her. I don't want to lose her. I want to rock her in our arms. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Haribol.